Hey strangers, I just wanted to start this video off by saying that none of us were contacted about this being a secret, nothing happened, we weren't spoken to by anyone, nobody told us to keep this a secret, etc, etc. There were no trespassing signs anywhere, so I don't think I'm gonna get in trouble for making this video because it's not that big of a deal, but just in case, I wanted to say all of that. Let's begin. So back in 2020, when the pandemic was still existent, me and my friends went to Vancouver and a few other places in Canada. I just wanted to mention the COVID thing because it kind of has something to do with the restrictions inside one of the hotels that we were at. Anyway, fast forward to the end of our trip, where in the last night we stayed at the Pan Pacific in Vancouver. By this point, we were tired, everything that needed to be seen had been seen. We were already in Vancouver for a night, so we probably seen a lot of the city. And it was 11 p.m. and we were bored. So we decided we're in this huge hotel and nobody's really staying here, nobody's really walking around, so why not just go on a tour throughout the hotel? I brought the camera that I'm recording with now, so I did get a little bit of the footage. Unfortunately, there was not too much to look at just because of all the COVID restrictions. Even all the public bathrooms were locked, so we couldn't really get in anywhere. So we just decided to wander until we found something interesting. Then we get to this door. It's kind of one of those gray doors where you have to push the handle thing in order to get it open, kind of like elementary schools do. We went through it, but it was like walking in through a time warp. This hallway was filled with nothing, it was super skinny, and it didn't look like the rest of the hotel at all. It had some disgusting green carpet that looked like it was from the 70s, and everything looked not completely under construction, but it looked like it needed to be renovated, or maybe it was in the progress of. We make it to the end of the hallway, and there's another one of those like fire escape, whatever type of school doors that you can open, and we opened it. I just wanted to let you know that there was no entry signs, there was no trespassing signs, there was nothing. Anyone could have wandered in, it just happened to be us. When we get through this final door at the end of the disgusting green 70s hallway, we see this huge stairwell. It looked like it was inside of some sort of gigantic submarine or like in the bowels of a huge ship. There's two sections of stairwells like zigzagging through each other, and for each staircase it was like two staircases almost. You can take a look at the video clip. I did take some videos while we were there. I was pretty concerned. The one thing that weirded me out was these two staircases that had two staircases per staircase, if that makes any sense. They didn't attach to each other. So if you were on one staircase, you couldn't get to the other one because it like zigzagged through each other. So we were going up and down the stairwell, looking at the doors, and I kind of started feeling the need to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, whatever, we've seen enough of this stairwell, all the doors are closed, and we kind of don't really have anything else to look at here, and it's kind of like weird territory, so let's go back. We climbed back up to the section of the stairs where we had our door, but when we tried to open the door, it was locked, so it locked behind us as we went into this weird-ass stairwell. Oh my gosh, we need to get out of here. So naturally, we thought, okay, let's go all the way down to the ground floor, because if anything, we'll just cry and scream until somebody opened the door or something. Eventually, we made it to the very bottom of the floor. There was one singular door of like the pushy kind that I've been trying to describe this whole time. So I pushed on this door, and it miraculously opened. It was the only door in this whole stairwell that opened. I was the first one out, and I held the door open for everybody else. When we got outside of this door, it looked like our hotel, but it wasn't our hotel. It was similarly decorated, but it was something completely different. So I'm holding this door open, my friends are coming out, and we see this security woman outside. She looks really shocked and surprised to see us, and I'm like, I don't know, we're just kind of here, like this is our hotel. She asks us, where did you come from? And we say, oh, well, we're staying at the Pan Pacific. Here, take a look at our door cards or whatever. And she's like, oh, you tripped off like a security alarm or something. And we're like, what? As my friends are leaving this weird hallway, the final hallway, I take a look at the back of the door as I'm closing it, and it doesn't look like a door at all. It exactly matches the wallpaper and the paneling of the rest of the walls in the room. There's no door handle on that side, and there's like a painting on it to match the rest of the paintings. I'm gonna try and find a picture on Google for you and kind of show you what it looks like. So what had happened is that we randomly jumped out of a wall at the Vancouver World Trade Center that happened to be attached to the Pan Pacific where we were staying at. So this poor security woman sees 4 idiots pop out of a wall while she's on her night shift trying to defend the World Trade Center in Vancouver. Yikes. Fortunately for us, nothing really came out of the situation with the security guard. She was just incredibly confused, but she had to put on her stern face, obviously, because she's a security woman, and she's watching us walk out of this wall. She had to unlock the front door to the World Trade Center for us because, of course, it was closed and it was locked. We didn't face any consequences other than having to stress ourselves by being in some random stairwell and also having to speak to a security person. There's nothing else that came with it. To be honest, what if you were sleepwalking and you accidentally went through this section of hallways? Like, you could easily access it. None of the doors were closed. Like, we as civilians were able to walk through this whole thing. And if we had been just random strangers off the street who didn't even have a room, because we didn't even need a room key to be in there. Luckily we did though, because that would have been big trouble. Anyone could have just come in and like wandered through this whole section. Yeah, so that's the story of how we popped out through a wall in the Vancouver World Trade Center attached to the Pan Pacific at 11 p.m. during a pandemic. I hope this was an interesting enough of a first video. I don't really know what other topics to make videos on, so if you have any suggestions, please let me know. But I hope for now that you enjoyed this story time because I thought it was pretty interesting. Bye, friends.